Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And what are we talking about tonight? Well, we have good news, good stories, the feel good type, right? Usually we come on here and we tell you about all the crap that's going on, but this is a feel good story. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the feel goodness of it. Before we get started, make sure to like the video if you like and enjoy it. Hit the subscribe button, help us out. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And if you feel good, you will feel good hitting subscribe. All right, so let's get started. So Stellar Blade developer, they're doing good. Stellar Blade did really well for them. And so they have given all 311 staff members a PS5 Pro and a $3,400 bonus. So Shift Up, the South Korean company behind the PlayStation 5 exclusive game Stellar Blade, which is coming to PC, I think this year. I believe Stellar Blade is coming to PC this year, has gifted all of its staff a PS5 Pro, as well as a cash bonus of 5 million won, which is about $3,400 in the US. So as spotted by VGC, South Korean publication Naver reported that the eye-catching bonuses were designed to encourage the company's staff. As the third quarter of last year, 311 people were working for Shift Up. Shift Up, they had a pretty good 2024 with Sony Interactive Entertainment published Stellar Blade, launched exclusively on PS5 in April, and sold more than 1 million copies in 2 months. And then they've been doing all those crossover DLCs. They did like Nier Automata, and I think they have another one coming up with what was it? I can't remember. There's another one coming up here soon. In July, Shift Up raised 435 billion won, which is around 320 million USD, in the first day of trade after its initial public offering. According to Bloomberg, that was the largest in the country for a gaming company since 2021, when PUBG maker Krafton Incorporated raised 3.8 billion in its own IPO. In a recent financial report, Shift Up said that after Stellar Blade's launch, sales continued at a stabilized level. Although it failed to provide an updated sales figure, it did, however, provide revenue directly attributed to the game, 25.8 billion won, so approximately about 18.5 million USD. During the quarter, Sales Blade came out April to June, and 22.5 billion won, around 16.1 million USD, during the company's third quarter, July to September. That's a total of 48.4 billion won, or 34.6 million USD as of the end of September. For context, Shift's Up other game, a mobile action game, got us a victory, Nikke, which I've played, and it's fun, especially if you like fan service. Makes more money than Stellar Blade, approximately 51.9 million during the same first 2 quarters. The developer has confirmed plans to release Stellar Blade on PC, which I have said at the beginning. Yeah, it comes out this year onto PC, and I'm sure it'll sell well on PC when it comes to PC. And then of course, Shift Up has an unannounced multi-platform game codenamed Project Witches, which is planned to launch after 2027. And more likely, probably, I would say either Project Witches is a sequel to Stellar Blade, or it could be something new. Who knows? But yeah, I mean that's awesome. In the most of the time we hear about people laying off a bunch of employees or stuff like that, but it's nice to see a company give all their employees a PlayStation 5 Pro and a pretty hefty bonus for doing a great job. That definitely brings morale to your developers and those on the team, so that way when they go to develop the next game or whatever, those individuals are more likely going to they're going to be feel incentivized to put more effort and more work into making the next project even more of a success, right? Not to say they didn't do that with Stellar Blade or any of the other stuff, but get good morale between your employees, giving them this bonus in the PS5 really incentivizes people to work harder or to do better, right? Or even better than they did before, right? It just gives them more incentive, right? Instead of bashing them and pushing them down, or saying you need to do it better next time, or good job, team. Here's a pizza, which is what usually happens here in America. We're having a pizza party. It's like money would have been great, but I guess pizza. For them, it's a PlayStation 5 Pro and money. Excuse me, which is really going to incentivize those individuals, those developers, to really put in, even more effort and stuff, and not really worry if there's not necessarily worry, but not bitch as much if there's like crunch time or certain things like that, right? It's good to give kudos to developers when something, or to anybody, to any employees when they do something good, right? That incentivizes those employees to continue doing those good things because they want those good incentives, right? Those good cookies. If you just give them a high five every time, they get sick of high fives and don't want to keep getting them, right? So it's good to see a company out there doing good by their employees. Pat, what do you think?
Yep, it's a feel-good story, to get to a company giving back to their employees after a good year. Yeah, I'd be pretty ecstatic if my company gave me a PS5 Pro and a $3,400 bonus. I'd be like, oh, all right. Especially if you weren't expecting anything, right? That's where it comes in. You're like, But yeah, I've worked plenty of manufacturing jobs over the years where they come in and they're like, hey, we record profit year. We're going to have a pizza party for everybody. And you're like, how about some extra money in my paycheck? Um, you know, the pizza party is a real thing, and it's an internet meme joke. But I've worked at plenty of places in the past that was your attaboy, right? Um, it was usually I would almost always say that 80% of the time, maybe of 90% or more, that it was a demoralizing thing for the employees when you're like, hey, we had a record profit or we had a good month, we're going to give you guys a pizza party. um, it's a weird place, right? It's a weird division. Like, I worked for small mom and pop companies that they gave out bonuses around holiday time or the end of the year and food and stuff at the same time. And I worked for medium-sized companies that don't do anything but throw you a pizza party or something. And I work for some larger companies who throw around a little extra money. I've worked in all of in between, but it seems like the smaller, the mid-sized companies are the ones more up to give you the pizza party, or manufacturing for that matter. When I was in manufacturing, it seemed like it was always the thing is, we did good, we're going to give you guys a pizza party. Or I've had places where it's like, it's chili party or whatever, and, and you're like, okay, I'd rather have a few extra bucks, but it's really good to hear. And yeah, we've talked a lot this year about companies laying off employees, and then when you see shift up in the news, you're like, oh no, they only have 311 employees, and you're like, okay, it's not getting rid of anybody, it's giving everybody free PlayStation 5 Pro so they can play Stellar Blade, right? And then $3,400, so they can spend it on the microtransactions in the game. But you can buy all the skins you want, with that and your PS5 Pro. I would have asked, did it come with a copy of Stellar Blade, or did all employees already get one, right? So, it's a feel-good story.
I would imagine all employees probably already had a copy of Stellar
Probably,
Blade.
right? I would have hoped if I was working for the company, don't matter if you're in accounting or the mailroom, you probably got a copy of it.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. But yeah, so feel-good story rather than, oh no, another studio laying off a bunch of people. But it sounds like this studio is doing great, and if you haven't played Stellar Blade, it's a boobs and butt physics game. It's an online game with the developer making a big stink out of how well proportioned their characters were. That was their selling point. I remember when they're like, oh yeah, everybody else is shying away from sexualizing their characters. We're over sexualizing them. We're even giving you an ability to remove the ponytail, so the ponytail's not in the way of seeing the rear end, the posterior.
Yes, the bum.
Yes. So
I beat the game. I enjoyed it.
We all played quite a bit of it.
Yeah, we all play. I think we reviewed it, but
Yeah.
I ended up completing it completely. I enjoyed it. I haven't played any of the DLC.
How do you
though.
complete it? It's an MMO, really. I mean,
No, it's not. It's a story game.
I mean, it is a story, but they want you to keep playing because there's ways to keep going, and I guess so. I mean, it is a single player game, but at the same time, yeah, I just remember the whole boobs and butt thing was their selling point, to try to create some hype behind the game, and it worked. I mean, obviously, they sold a lot of copies.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, they sold a lot of copies.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a feel good story. I like it. It's a company giving back to their employees.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good thing. It's a good story. The game to me was just okay. I mean, it wasn't the best game in the world, but I could see its appeal. It was an interesting concept. It was a fun play, but at the same time, to me, it got a little boring, rinse, repeat. But Nick is the resident masochist, so if he just smashes his head on things long enough, he'll beat it. So I think the more painful it is, the more he's apt to play it too. So
no, it's not the most painful game I've played.
No, it's not by any means. It's
not by any means. No.
Yeah, but
as far as because it's kind of Souls ish.
It's light, yeah.
Yeah, light.
You rest at the little stops in between. Yeah,
or not campfires.
They're like little. I don't even know what you call them. They're like little hideaway rooms or whatever because they have like a vending machine and all that. Yeah, lawn chair, vending machines, all that kind of stuff. Level up stuff, Right. But it reminds me of that concept, just with sexualized women, a sexualized woman, I should say.
Right, which they really didn't. I mean, they didn't need that because I think the gameplay itself was fine. That they really didn't need that part. I mean, it's fine. I'm not, not against it or anything. I'm just saying you didn't really need that to sell your game. Because the combat was fine. Yeah. And the combat and the gameplay were good enough that you could have done anything, but whatever. It is what it is. When it comes out to PC, there'll be mods.
Oh yeah. There'll be a nude mod out before the game even makes it out the door.
Yeah, there will be.
Because isn't there some Stellar Blade Near Automata crossover thing?
Yeah, and then where you can play as 2B and right. I think some of the other.
Is 2B gonna kick the camera when you try to look up her skirt? I don't know. Like in the old
Near one's Automata. Already out. And then there's another crossover that they're doing with something. I can't remember what it was. I wanted to check it out because I thought the crossovers were free, but they're not. They cost money, so I'm like, I don't want to pay for them. They're not
already get the only crossover you want, which is the nude suit, which makes her look nude anyway.
Yeah, it looks nude.
It's all skin tone. It's skin toned suit.
Skin toned, yeah.
Well,
but I wanted to try it out, but yeah, I think it's like $10 for the DLC. And I'm like, I don't want to pay $10 for it.
Just so you can look at the skin because you've already beat the game. Are you really going to play it again?
Yeah, right. Probably not, because I did everything in the game, so there's really not anything left to do. So, besides play it again, I think there was a new game plus though, but I probably wouldn't do that. If anything, I'd probably wait for it to come to PC and then probably get it there, maybe play it, beat it on that.
Interesting.
But other than that, I enjoyed the game and got us a victory. Nikkei.
I've never played that one.
It's a mobile game, but it's a fun mobile game, especially if you like eye candy or fan service.
Oh, is that the shooting one that you were showing us where you could go behind cover and stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
You collect all the Nikkeis.
Gotcha.
Or Nickies or whatever they call them.
However you pronounce it.
Yeah, however you pronounce it. But yeah, it's not a bad little mobile game if you like mobile games, which I'm not a big fan of it, so I don't play it very often. Mobile games, I'm not a big fan of. But I try some out because I want to play some, but I can never get into playing them. I download them and then I play them like once or twice and then I never pick them up again.
Yeah. You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
It is what it is on that one. But yeah, it's good, feel good story with a developer paying it back to their employees. I'm sure there was a lot of crunch time when it was about time for this game to come out. So, it's kind of like Nick said, it's a build loyalty. You're like, hey, these guys really stepped up when we did well. And gave us a bonus, and that makes me a little bit more loyal to them. They want to take care of me. They want to help me out when they do good. I do good is the way it looks, but
Right.
so
It gives the employees a good incentive, right? It's a good incentive to.
gives them the
You're
warm
exactly
fuzzies.
right. If the company does good, then I get, you know, even though as an employee you shouldn't expect that, but they might have that, idea like, hey, if our next game does really good, we probably get another one, right?
Right.
And if Shift Up continues that trend, that will continue. That will continue with developers staying behind and becoming more tenure. So that way you have, because it's harder to bring someone up brand new than it is to, have someone that knows the ins and outs of the company, and those tenure people, right? You always want those people that know what they're doing to stick
Yeah.
around.
Anybody who's been in any type of skilled workforce, HR, any company, it's more expensive to replace than retain. So
Right. So keep those, the developers are doing good for you, artists and everything like that, then keep them around, right? And giving them good incentives allows them to stick around and not look for other companies to go off to and things like that, or scouting from other developers and stuff like that. That gives them more incentive to stay with you. Uh, you could call it, what is it?
loyalty, I don't know.
I was thinking
Or
of like
incentivizing your employees.
incentivizing or bargaining, or not, you know what I'm saying? Like giving them something.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not giving them something to stay loyal, but I mean, like it gives that incentive to the employee, right? That feeling of like, hey, I'm going to work and do well for these people. So that's what, and that's one thing that's severely lacking from our side of the pond with a lot of companies here. Like I said, the mom and pops are usually pretty good about that, but like the bigger companies are not. Like they're just,
They're very structured, right? It's harder to do when you have thousands of employees,
sure.
But I think when you start getting into the larger corporations, they are more structured. So they're like, hey, we're going to do bonus structure. We have a bonus structure, and
Right.
and what their pay incentives look like. Whereas the mid-sized companies, they're stuck between that mom and pop and that large corporation. They're not large enough to be able to do and not always an incentivized bonus structure. But they haven't gotten out of that mentality of we're going to lump favor onto our employees, and they realize they can't, like when they were 300 or 200 employees, they couldn't give everybody a couple $1,000 bonus, versus their thousands of employees now, and they're like, what can we do? Let's give them pizza, and you're like, come
Everybody
on.
likes pizza.
Yeah, everybody wants a pizza party. Everybody wants an
Yeah.
attaboy,
Attaboy. Slap on the ass. That's all you need.
Yeah. Good job.
Good
That's what you
job.
did. Line up a time clock. Good job. Good job.
Anyway, it's good to see Shift Up, and this could be good for other developers out there. Something to look at, right? To strive to be more like companies like Shift Up in that regards to their employees, right? Instead of laying off a bunch of people, Microsoft and all those other employees this year that laid off thousands and thousands of employees, try to look at, I mean, people shouldn't be looked at as like just the cogs in the wheel,
Yeah.
right? Or just the, easy to replace. Then you don't, I don't know. It's just that's another tunnel to go down. But anyway, feel good story. Let's keep it feel good. These guys did a great job, with doing good by their employees. So, you got anything else you want to say to this?
Oh, glad to hear a studio doing something positive instead of shoving people out the door.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let us know down in the comments below. What do you think? Did you play Stellar Blade? Have you played any of the DLCs? Let us know if you have and what you thought of those. Are you looking forward to the next game that Shift Up does? Do you play Goddess of Victory, Nick A? Let us know down in the comments below. Other than that, thanks for everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, help us out, do us a favor, hit the bell notifications, stay up to new videos that we do all the time. We'll see you next time.